What's up, internet? I'm sitting here in my office having my healthy green juice right here. It's got apples, celery, spinach, kale, and lemon. Yeah, man. Good stuff, man. Always trying to stay healthy, eating healthy, and I usually drink about one of those a day, and then I drink about one of these big 50-ounce. I drink actually two of those 50-ounce waters every day, but anyway. Man, so I'm sitting here in my office and I wanted to come on and make a video real quick because I want to talk about, I just got through having a coaching session with a student, and we were talking about self-development. And I want to talk about how important self-development is because, man, I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for self-development. You know, they say you're the average of the 5 people you hang around the most. I guarantee you, if you look at the 5 people that you have in your life, your income is the average of those 5 people. If you live in an apartment, probably those 5 people live in an apartment. Or if they all live in $1 million houses, well, then you probably live in $1 million house as well. But how do you go from having the 5 people that you hang around the most to changing that? Like, you need mentors, you need people that you can hang out with in order to have those influential people in your life. Well, how do you do that? You do it through books and video and audio. So I had a mentor tell me a long time ago, he's like, Scott, listen, man, leaders are readers. If you don't have the mentors to go out and hang out with, if you don't have these people in your life, then read a book written by one of those people. Learn how they became successful. Whatever area of life you want to strive to become better at. If it's real estate, then read everything you can on real estate and how the best of the best became that way, and surround yourself with those people either through their video, their audio, or their books every single day. If it's a different industry, if you want to be the best hairstylist in the world, well, then study people who were the best hairstylists in the world. Tony Robbins had a quote when I went to that Tony Robbins event. If you see in my last videos, Tony Robbins had a quote. He said, if you want to become successful, you must first study the mindset of the successful person you want to become. And that's incredible because he's so true. It's a completely different mindset when you're looking at success. So the 5 people that you hang around the most, you are the average of the 5 people you hang around the most. You've heard that. Change that. If you don't like where you're at, you can change it. And how you change it is by audio, video, and books. And so we're going to talk about books today because books is one of the things my very first mentor said, Scott, you need to be reading. And I was like, dude, I don't like to read, man. I couldn't stand to read. Like, it just wasn't my thing. I didn't like it. You know the average person only reads 2 to 5 books a year after they've graduated school? Okay, well, that's the average person, but I wasn't even average. I didn't even read. I don't even think I read 2 books in 10 years after I graduated school. I just did not like to read. Now, I like to learn in other ways. I'm very visual, so I like to go to events where I'm sitting there live in person. But as far as actually reading, it just wasn't my thing. And then I read somewhere one day that the average CEO reads 50 to 60 books a year. And I'm like, wow, that is incredible. 50 to 60 books a year. So my mentor is like, Scott, you need to learn to read. And here's what he told me. He's like, if you're not that good at it, start by reading 10 pages every day. Anybody can read 10 pages. 10 pages is so easy to do, but it's also easy not to do, right? That's the key. This is what he taught me. It's easy to do, but it's also easy not to do. So I remember that first day, I got a book and I went home and I read, I started reading 10 pages that night. I think I got to page 3 and I fell asleep. And then the next day, I got to page 3 or 4 and I fell asleep. And then the next day, I probably got to page 7 or 8 and I fell asleep. Anyway, over time, I was able to get to the point where I was reading 10 pages every day. And it's like going to the gym, man. In the very beginning, you don't want to do it. Your brain says, no, this isn't what we do. We don't like this. And you're creating a new habit. And when you're creating a new habit, you're going to go through that resistance at first. Those neurotransmitters in your brain have to reconnect and create different habits. And so for me, reading 10 pages every day was a brand new habit. And it was uncomfortable. It didn't feel comfortable. It didn't feel good. I didn't like the way I just didn't like it. But what happened is over time, I started to enjoy it. Then I started finding myself reading more than 10 pages. Then it became, man, I want to finish this chapter. Or I may have already read 10 pages, but I was like, man, I want to finish this story that I'm reading about. And I'd end up reading 13 or 15 pages, whatever it may be. And then before you know it, I finished a whole book. And I was like, wow, a 300 page book only took me, about 30 days a month to finish. And that blew my mind. I was so proud of myself for accomplishing that. And so then a couple of years ago, I started out on this journey where, remember I told you guys that the average CEO reads 50 to 60 books a year. I started out on this journey and I was like, you know what? I want to see what it's like to be the average CEO. I'm gonna read 50 or 60 books this year and I want to see what it's like. Well, I didn't read 50 or 60 books. I ended up reading 240 books that year. Wow, incredible. 240 books is what I read, all about mindset, all about success in different areas, not just mindset, but success in business, what it takes to be successful, what it takes to brand yourself, real estate related, business related, all these books on how to become better. And you know what? I became better. And I started noticing things around me started to change. I started to get better opportunities started coming my way. For example, with the position that I have here at Keller Williams, I'm a production coach. I'm not only a production coach, but I'm the head productivity coach for this office, and I have 5 other coaches on my staff. So the fact that I have this opportunity, I give all that credit to self-developing, becoming the person I want to be. See, if you want to make $1 million a year, or you want to make $100,000 a year, or you want to, doesn't matter, whatever it is you want to do, you've got to become that person. You've got to become the person that can make $1 million a year. How do you become that? By hanging out with people that have what you want. So listen, I hope this helps. I hope this probably, gives you some kind of spark. If you're not a reader, go out there, get a book, and just try 10 pages every day until you become good. I watch a ton of videos. So now it's not really necessarily about how many books I read anymore in a year, because I can fly through a book. I can pretty much now read about a book a day if I really wanted to. I don't. But if I wanted to, I could probably read a book a day. Now it's more about how many hours am I going to spend this year self-developing. Not just necessarily reading, but going to seminars or watching video on YouTube maybe, or listening to an audiobook. I count all of that as time for self-development. So my goal for the year is 1,500 hours, which comes out to about 4 hours a day. And I'm right on track with that. Every day I spend 4 hours self-developing. People are like, Scott, how do you do that, man? I mean, 4 hours, wow. Where do you get the time? Well, dude, first of all, I read somewhere that the average American spends 4 to 6 hours a day watching TV. And I started looking at my life and I was like, that was me. I did. I spent a good amount of time in my past watching TV. I watched a lot of TV, man. Like I used to binge watch stuff. Have you ever binge watched something on Netflix? Like just, I would sit there and I would binge watch, these shows day after day after day, and you learn that it's just a waste of time, man. So I got rid of my cable. I don't have cable. I do have a TV and I do have Netflix, but I very rarely ever watch anything on there. And if I do watch something, it's just on in the background to give some noise around the house. But really, 4 hours a day, I mean, I don't listen to the radio either. I'm not saying that I don't listen to music. What I'm saying is that I use my iPhone and I listen to music that I have pre-recorded. But most of the time when I'm driving, I'm usually listening to some kind of audiobook, or I'm listening to some kind of motivational self-help, self-development, Tony Robbins, some kind of something that's going to help help me expand my consciousness, to help me become better. Because what I've learned over all of this is that this becomes addicting. I'm so addicted now to the learning, and I want to learn more, and I want to find out more, and I want to grow my consciousness more, and I want to become such a better person. Because what I've realized is that by becoming a better person for myself, I'm able to be a better person for others around me. I'm able to help others around me. And what I've learned is that's the secret. Jim Rome always said, you help enough people get what they want, you'll always get what you want. And helping people has definitely become my main focus. I want to help as many people learn that they can be, do, or have anything they set their mind to. All right, guys. Hope that helped. See you next time. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe down below so you know when the next video is coming out. Try to put out a video about once a week. All right. Leave me some comments. Talk to you soon. Bye.